YouTube, how's it going? The Goat House is back with an updated NFL mock draft as we're heading into week 4 of the NFL season. Actually, one game through, Thursday Night Football done for week 4. So figured we update this first round mock using the current order. Wouldn't really focus on the order too much. We know it's going to change. A lot of NFL season left. Mainly updating the prospects. We'll see whose stock is really rising and where I think at this moment where players will go based on the way they're playing. So we got crazy amount of NFL draft coverage in draft season right now. Full NFL coverage, weekly picks, score predictions, power rankings, a lot more. Rookie power rankings coming probably next week as well. Love doing those last year. So follow our Twitter. More coming to our Twitter after 10K. Maybe some updated mock drafts on there if we can't get to them in the video. And a lot more too. But talking live during games. You join our Picks League through there. Patreon has bonus content. A lot going on here at the Goat House. Link in the description comments if you're looking for anything there. Here's our Twitter. That's how you join the Picks League. It's pinned right now. Some updates on injuries, which is always unfortunate. But we keep you updated on the NFL news. So to the mock draft. Current order. Jaguars already played their game this week, so they're 0-4 right now actually, which I think they're getting better. They'll get there. If I had to predict, I don't think they finished with the first overall pick, but that's where they sit right now. Tough to debate with myself here. Evan Neal, Alabama tackle, or Kayvon Thibodeaux, who currently is my number one player in the draft. Dominant edge rusher. I believe he could fit a 4-3 or a 3-4. There may be some 4-3 teams may pass, maybe would like for him to put on more size, but he definitely has the physicality. But, Cam Robinson's on the franchise tag. He's a little inconsistent. I do think he's probably still getting better. But yeah, will they want to pay him big money? I think they would just rather draft Evan Neal, which is an improvement there, and keep kind of their prized possession there in Trevor Lawrence of the future, keep him protected. So I think they go that route. Thibodeaux would be very appealing, though, and Urban Meyer does like his 5 stars, and there's 2 big-time former 5 stars right there. Then the Jets go Kayvon Thibodeaux, pair him with Carl Lawson. Obviously, we haven't seen Carl Lawson, unfortunately, play for the Jets yet. They'll debut for the Jets at the same time. That is a nasty duo. So the Jets, they could use quite a few things, but just too good to pass. Again, he could very well go first. This brings up a question. So right now the Colts are picking 3rd overall, and their pick would go to the Eagles if, of course, Carson Wentz plays a certain amount of snaps this year. So this could be the Eagles' pick, but what I went with here, I think that if the Colts are kind of in the driver's seat to get anywhere near pick 3, I mean, we could be talking anywhere near top 15 pick, maybe 16, whatever. I think they would take out Wentz and make sure that first-round pick turns into a second-round pick. So basically, I'm not predicting them to have the 3rd pick, because that's the current order right now, but I'm predicting if they are in the driver's seat of having this pick, they're going to make sure they own the pick. So that's what I went with here. Eagles still going to have 2 more picks in this draft, so it just kind of get a variety of different ideas here. Let's get the Colts involved because they very well may be. And I don't think anybody else is really involved in the Colts in their mocks, but who knows? So again, it could be the Eagles pick. I went with the quarterback. I went Carson Strong, a different Carson. Carson went to Carson Strong, quarterback from Nevada. He is currently not my number 1 quarterback. He very well can be. It's very early. I like Matt Corral a lot. Big test against Alabama this week. Really excited about that. But Carson Strong, getting a lot of hype, around the NFL. Big body quarterback with a strong arm. Every time you bring up Carson Strong, people bring up Josh Allen too. I think that would be like kind of where Frank Reich and company would go with what they would want in terms of their quarterback. They kind of go with that type of quarterback. So, and I don't think they would hesitate either. Some people they trade for Carson Wentz, but that experiment's not going well, and it shouldn't be that surprising because of injuries and his play. So I think if they're in this position, and they got a pretty decent roster too, it's just injuries for the rest of the part. Really, the only question is maybe solidify that left tackle in the future. If Evan Neal's there, maybe you got a little bit of a debate there. But quarterback, and then they could use another corner, but I think they would go strong in this scenario. A lot of rave reports. Right now, I am liking Matt Corral as my top guy, but it probably depends on the team. Treylon Burks, the Arkansas receiver, shooting up boards apparently. Big body receiver that could move and get separation like smaller body receiver. You know, he has the speed, he has the length, he has the hands, the contested catch ability, the big play ability, lighting it up for Arkansas. Arkansas is playing some really good football. There's just one of those guys where I don't know if there's too many corners that can cover him. You know, even in the NFL, it's just going to make it harder on those corners. You know, everyone goes for those athletic corners because the receivers are getting more athletic. Everyone wanted those kind of old school big body receivers, but they can't get separation. But hey, here's a rare one that you can get. So I have the Lions going that route. I think they like Jared Goff right now. I think if the right quarterback fell in their lap, then possibly. But they desperately need a receiver as well. And here's one that might be worth a top pick. You know, once again, we saw a couple last year. So Treylon Burks looking real good. Giants go Matt Corral, quarterback, Ole Miss. I love his game right now. Looks like he can make any throw, downfield, tight window, makes the sideline throws. He has the throw on the run ability. He has the scrambling ability. He uses legs. He's not a run first guy though. That's what I love. I don't think the Giants' current group would take Corral, honestly. But I think I think for sure Gettleman's going to be gone, and then the coaching staff could be gone. But I don't know if it's going to really. I don't think it really matters if they're not gone. I think Joe Judge is kind of open to pretty much anything. You know, a Corral type player, which is where the NFL, where this era is kind of heading. Those style of quarterbacks are taking over. So the Giants would absolutely have to go this route. And Corral's a guy that can really just spread the ball to if you got a load of weapons, and hey, the Giants do. They added that. They kind of got it all in place, for to take a guy like this. This is the Eagles pick from the Dolphins, where the Dolphins made a deal. The Dolphins end up getting a pick from the 49ers, though. We'll get to that. Eagles go Derek Stingley Jr. Darius Slay's still solid, but he's kind of declining a little bit. And how much longer does he have? And then they have Nelson for just a year, so they're going to need a corner. They didn't play overly well the last time we seen them versus the Cowboys on Monday night as well. But Stingley worth the pick here, so they grab the corner from LSU. Then the Patriots surprisingly have the 7th overall pick. I don't think they'll finish here, but that's what they have right now. Kyle Hamilton, one of the better safety prospects we've seen. So rangy, so long, so athletic, such a playmaker at the same time. It's just really hard to find a flaw to his game. McCourty's about to be a free agent. Probably could use an upgrade anyways in the safety department. So they grab Kyle Hamilton here at the 7th pick. Texans, maybe they like Davis Mills. He looked pretty decent, I guess, in the first outing. We're going to see another outing this weekend here, week 4 against the Buffalo Bills. Definitely need to see a lot more, and luckily we will. We have that time here. But they may like him. I think I'm thinking they're going to trade Watson, and they'll probably look for a quarterback with a better upside here. They get a guy, Malik Willis, that can run. Definitely a dual threat. I guess the question, and a strong runner I might add as well, and he can throw. He definitely can throw. He can throw downfield, but the question is he a run first guy or is he a pass first guy? It's a little bit of a mystery, but what I don't like, Liberty, they're trying to win games with him only passing 20 times. Sometimes we've seen less than that, sometimes barely over, and they want to run him first, and that's why it's a bit of a mystery. So I think a chunk of the league won't like that, and a group of the league will be like, yeah, that's kind of Liberty. They didn't really have the best game plan. They didn't cut him loose. They wanted to, play things safe. They wanted to run him first, and they just didn't really want to throw the ball a lot. So it's very tough to tell, but it can be a little concerning. It'd probably be more concerning if it was a bigger school and just kind of didn't want him to throw a lot. It kind of would get the vibes that, if we put the game in this guy's hands too much, he might cost us the game. That's kind of the vibes we would get. So it's a little odd, but it might just be a Liberty thing. But I think the Texans will like him. I think they'll like his running ability, kind of we'll see if that's where they're heading. But I think between him and Carson Strong right now for my second quarterback, I like Matt Corral, but we'll learn a lot against Alabama this upcoming week, and for these other guys as well. Long season, left, and there's a couple other guys we expected up here aren't playing to this level yet, but definitely can get back there for sure. So a couple quarterbacks off the board, even though it's considered a weaker class. Next, the Falcons pick 9. The Falcons would probably like quarterback of the future. Matt Ryan is declining a bit. He still has somewhat of the arm talent, but he's really struggling under pressure. You need more of a mobile quarterback, but I don't really see them liking any of the ones here. that are available. I mean, it's possible they can. It's a long ways away, but the interior offensive line's been pretty damn terrible, and they could benefit from a tackle as well. Well, Kenyon Green's playing tackle for A&M this year after switching there from guard, and he's pretty damn good at both. Probably better at guard, but you almost get a 2-for-1. Not that you can play him in two spots at once, but I think the Falcons would probably play him in the interior, but there's also that opportunity that you could play him at tackle. Eagles grab, with their second pick here, their actual pick, grab George Karlaftis, the Purdue edge rusher. You may say Eagles are stacked at edge rush. They just re-signed Josh Sweat, and that's true. And another team that, hey, maybe they go quarterback because Hurts, got upside, very talented, but, maybe struggles under pressure a bit. So who knows, and it sounded like they were interested in a couple quarterbacks at the top, the very top two quarterbacks last year. So who knows, but yeah, back to the edge rushers, Brandon Graham hurt. How much longer does he have? Maybe you add injury concern now, and Derek Barnett's about to be a free agent. They really, everybody values the edge rush position, and, they value rotation as well. We can see that. So Karlaftis, who's looking pretty good. Last week, he was actually getting triple teamed at times we saw. So people fear this guy. So off the edge, and I think equally effective in stopping a run and getting after the quarterback as well. This is a Jets pick. Seattle's pick goes to the Jets, obviously. So this would look pretty good for the Jets, getting two high picks. Is Seattle going to finish here? Ahmad Gardner, Sauce Gardner, love his game. Love what I'm seeing so far. Long corner, athletic, can make that play on the ball downfield. I saw Indiana game. I saw some good things, especially down the stretch. I seen him kind of leaving his responsibility because he reads what the quarterback is doing. I think on top of that on top of his length, how lengthy and athletic he is, I think I think coordinators are going to be in love with this guy. So the Jets need a corner here, so they grab him. Could go offensive line because it's struggling right now, but I think it's young. I think it's improving. They're also missing Becton, so hey. Giants get their pick from the Bears. So this is looking pretty good from the Giants here, getting two picks early. They're still scrambling for interior offensive linemen, maybe specifically center. Tyler Linderbaum from Iowa, maybe the best in his position in his category. So the Giants grab him there. Sam Howell, I pulled the trigger here, but Sam Howell 13th. I do worry about Sam Howell. His stock has definitely fallen. I think there's a chunk of teams that would pass on him altogether in the first round, because, he's a little on the shorter side, a little undersized. The people overreact from that a bit. I really won't, but I still think, teams will. He's not too good under pressure. There's times where he'll just launch the ball downfield, and he's so good downfield that it ends up being a pretty ball, and it looks like he's good under pressure because he's about to get hit, and he just, hey, let me just bomb the ball down there, and it looks good. But if you really watch, he makes some panic decisions. He panics, makes some weird decisions under pressure. So that's actually I think his biggest problem. Kind of been hot and cold so far this year. But if I think there's a few teams that would pull the trigger on him. I think Washington could be 1A, and he teams up with De'Ami Brown. That not the main reason they would take him, just because they got a former teammate of him. But and Washington's going to be in the market for a quarterback. Vikings could be in the market for a corner. Patrick Peterson, he's getting a little better, but not playing overly well. He's only got a 1-year deal anyways. And Bashad Berlin only has a 1-year deal. They're going to need corners, and they'll like Kyer Elam. He's got a lot of upside. He's got that length and that physicality on the outside. I really like this corner group. Another corner off the board, Andrew Booth. Steelers would need a quarterback. I think too early for some of these other quarterbacks. They might be picky on the quarterbacks as well. They could use offensive line, but the ones I think that they would be interested in are gone. It would be a reach at those positions. Joe Hayden did say he wanted to test free agency this offseason. I felt like that was weird that they came out right before the season, but it did. He would like to test free agency, and things can change when we get there. And he's missed a game as well. They just need corners in general. Andrew Booth from Clemson, physical corner, athletic, familiar with man coverage, what the Steelers love to run. Obviously, Mike Tomlin loves to run man coverage. Ton of upside. I think I already mentioned that. But so I think they go that route because it also is a need, and it's better than the other needs. Who's the best available? Aiden Hutchinson from Michigan. He's having a pretty good year, pretty productive year there, getting himself up the board, getting his stock up. The Chiefs desperately need a defensive end here. I think Hutchinson fits their defense. They might need a couple. They might need two starters of the future there, so because they're real rough in that category. So I would be surprised. I'd be surprised if the Chiefs are picking 16. Honestly, that's where they're at right now. They're 1-2. It's pretty wild. They'll definitely get going, but defense definitely a problem right now. Saints at 17 to Marvin Lail from Texas A&M. In a 3-4 defense, he would play D-end. In a 4-3, which the Saints run, he would play interior. Probably align at 3 technique quite a bit, which is typically it's a pass rushing interior defensive lineman, defensive tackle. The Saints, I mean, their interior defensive line took a hit this offseason, but it's still playing very well. But I don't think they would pass up on a chance to get even better there. He's a very talented guy that could go in the top 10. Again, I would love him as a 3-4 end as well. Would essentially be the same thing. He's not playing inside of defensive end in that category, in that defense, I should say. So I think the Saints would love him. They're always looking for corners too, so that's a possibility. Very good corner class. But they extended Marshawn Latimer and they signed Bradley Roby, which might be more than a 1-year stint there. So hey, maybe they don't need one. Browns go Jordan Davis. Thought about receiver here as well, but Jordan Davis, they could use some guys in the interior. Jordan Davis going to be a real good NFL nose tackle for a long time, in my opinion. He can't go super high because, nose tackles typically don't go super high unless you can try to find another Vita Vea. But hey, Davis is pretty damn athletic for a big man there in the inside, so I think the Browns would like him. Darion Kendrick, remember he came from Clemson, went over to Georgia, very talented back there. He's just kind of got some off-the-field issues, which seem to be cleared up right now. He's just got all the talent in the world, a lockdown corner for one of the best defenses in the nation that we've seen in a long time there. So the Bills stacked. That's that final piece of the puzzle right there. That defensive field is stacked. Titans got maybe the best receiver duo in football there in Julio Jones and A.J. Brown. They're both currently hurt. How long does Julio have? He also has the injury concern. I'm not going to label A.J. Brown with the injury concern. I'm not going to give him that label, but he does have some things that pop up, so he definitely can use another one. Right now they're using guys that are kind of borderline practice squad guys. So Garrett Wilson, kind of a do-it-all receiver. I do think he's one guy that is hyped up an insane amount. I'm not going to hype him up as much as other people, but he is very talented. Does feel like he's getting better. Bucks look good at everywhere on paper. Their secondary is struggling a little bit right now. Yeah, more than a little bit. But it's beat up. The corners look real good on paper, but it's pretty beat up right now. But Dean, when they did draft Jamel Dean, he did come with injury concern out of Auburn, and he's hurt right now. Sean Murphy-Bunting's hurt. He doesn't really have major concern. He also plays in the slot. And I think they'll value the position here. So, and obviously Carlton Davis is set. He's a beast. And the other guys are great too. They're just injured. So I think they would grab a corner, and McDuffie is the guy shooting out boards. Is Washington. They know how to develop those secondary, the defensive backs, I should say. Dolphins, I've gone with Henry To'o from Alabama. Former Tennessee Volunteer, transferred over. Man, he really stood out in Tennessee last year, which is pretty tough to do. He was really dominant, and really carried that defense. And now he's, helping Alabama on the inside as well. I think the Dolphins are kind of on the lookout for, they tried out Bernard McKinney. It didn't really work. They got a couple guys that could fill in that inside linebacker position, but and they're struggling to stop the run a little bit too. I still think they're, in the market for a guy like this. Cowboys go with another linebacker and another Penn State linebacker, Brandon Smith, very athletic there for Penn State, all over the place. Big time for that big time defense here. But I'm thinking, Jalen Smith's playing pretty poorly. Doesn't really seem like a fit. Keanu Neal, I don't think that's a long-term answer, but was pretty solid when healthy. And Mike Parsons, linebacker from Penn State they drafted last year, he's really working out as an edge rusher. And I don't think they're going to just stick him back at off-the-ball linebacker. So they may need another off-ball linebacker here. So they go Brandon Smith. Jalen Armour Davis from Alabama, he's really popped up my radar here. Stock is up. Physical corner, always tight in coverage. Josh Jobs, another one from Alabama. Ravens, they're missing, obviously Marcus Peters because of injury. How much longer does Marcus Peters have with them? I think he's still got plenty of talent, but they're missing him big time. How long does Jimmy Smith have with them? Ravens value corners so much that they may be on the lookout for their next guy to step up here. So, one of those Bama corners definitely could fit. And last group of picks, Packers, Nakobe Dean from Georgia, big-time player for them. They can use him. If the Packers probably want to, I think they're gearing towards, maybe we got to get pressure from blitzing here a little more than we used to because it was a change of defense coordinators this past year. So a guy like Dean could fill. You can be that off-the-ball guy, inside linebacker, and also blitz. Kind of a playmaker at the position. Chargers go Drake Jackson from USC, solid edge rusher, fits their 3-4 defense. Pair him with Bosa. It looks pretty good for the future there. Bengals, it's weird seeing the Bengals down here, but currently heading to week 4, and they already played their game here in week 4. They're 3-1. Darian Kinnard here from Kentucky, a guy that I think, their offensive line is actually playing pretty well right now, surprisingly. It could be better. I still think they kind of go that route. He's a guy that's really good in terms of run blocking, upside pass blocking, so they can use him at tackle or guard, in my opinion. Panthers offensive line has really only been it's been the only weak spot of that team so far. Here they're 3-0. Jackson Kirkland from Washington could play tackle for them. I had the Lions going with Spencer Rattler. Rattler's not playing like a first-round pick right now. He just does. I think there's a lot of teams that would pass on him. He doesn't really look like an NFL quarterback right now, but he does have that strong arm, the athletic ability. I really do think he's going to pick it back up second half of the year. I really do, and kind of get himself back in the conversation. Right now, there's a lot of teams that wouldn't take him in the first. I think the Lions having an extra pick, I think they would pull the trigger. I think they'd be like, hey, let's just put him behind Goff for a bit and let him learn. They took that receiver in the first round we had. Christian Harris to the Broncos. Bradley Chubb currently hurt. Von Miller, one more year left. I mean, that very well could end up being the duo next year, but they're going to need – and they've got pretty good depth, as well, but they'll need another guy in here. They'll value that, so they grab the Alabama edge rusher. Myjai Sanders from Cincinnati, so an edge rusher from the Cardinals. They're looking pretty good at that position, but, Chandler Jones, they didn't want to pay, and he's going to be a free agent. They very well could pay him. But they definitely can use another one out there as well. Remember, J.J. Watt's 3-4 end, so this is kind of fits the outside linebacker role for the Cardinals. And the Raiders, who currently have the last pick. Again, this is the current order. I'm not making Super Bowl predictions with this, but these teams are down here because they're looking pretty damn good right now, obviously. Ikem Ekwonu from NC State, I think plays guard at the next level. Can play tackle. There's quite a few of those guys. There's quite a few of those guys every year. Actually, they drafted Alex Leatherwood last year, which I thought he had some upside going to guard, even though we've never seen him play guard. They like him at right tackle, and they beef up that interior once again, And the O-line's playing all right now, but they don't have too many needs right now. Maybe a reason why they're winning. So the NC State offensive lineman looking like a bully out there right now, looking good. So I think that's the route they potentially could go with in this scenario. A lot of good players still on the board here. So it's looking like a talented draft once again, which we come to expect because it's a lot of talented athletes out there these days. But it's going to be interesting this week, especially I mentioned some of the games coming up here in week 5 of college football. It's going to say a lot, about these quarterbacks. We're always looking at the quarterbacks, but a lot of good running backs too. I didn't have any go here. I think more and more every year teams you're kind of waiting to take the running backs, not valuing them super high, but there's some pretty good ones as well. But that's going to do it. Follow our Twitter if you want to discuss more. A lot going on there. Check it out. Link in the comments section there. And, subscribe, turn notifications on. Full NFL coverage here. Got some college football content, some draft content. So check us out. Join us. Be much appreciated. Much appreciated for being here, watching this video as well. It's going to do it. Goodbye.